Da-da-da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. Let people know I've gone live. And if you've never popped into one of my lives, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And this week we have been working on the word gratefulness. And I was going to pass along in this moment. I still might. um, I wanted to highlight one of my mentors, one of my online mentors, one of those people that have that insight that I didn't have, right? And it's just not a matter of taking it in because somebody said so, right? Kind of that do as I say, not as I do. Um, and I'm right, you're wrong. But to each one of us have that opportunity to feel something out. And this is where I'm going to go with my word gratefulness today is to try and stay inside that feeling of gratefulness, right? Because that's that feeling that you've received something, isn't it? In gratefulness, isn't it? Or that you're in the process of receiving something. And I got a bit of a lesson yesterday in gratefulness, and it was very curious as to how it came about. And but it impacted how I'm bringing the lesson in today, right? And that is in the emotions of gratefulness. We all do our gratefuls, right? We do our gratefuls because our friends do our gratefuls, or our networks are doing the gratefuls that we're told to, right? But to actually resonate with that word grateful, right? We touched on it a little bit this week, right? Number one for me, and I'm not going to fail myself this week by mentioning it, is I'm grateful to be here, right? I'm grateful to exist in a world, even if that world might be difficult, it might be mis- misunderstood, or I might be misunderstood, right? That I'm grateful for Mother Nature, and I'm grateful for the experience of goal setting and achieving some of those things that I never thought I was worthy of, right? Or never thought that I was capable of achieving. And there's a big one too, right? We're using my cup today, my little chipped thankful cup, right? Because we are on the topic of gratefulness, right? And such a warming, comforting, like a blanket, right? It's all almost like that grateful is an entity in its own self. You know what I mean? That it's keeping us company, that everything is going to be okay, right? Just saying you're gratefuls, right? But just because you know something works doesn't really mean that you're truly understanding the depth of that word, right? That depth of the feeling. Okay, here's my story. Yesterday, I've been motoring. Remember, I was motoring for the past 2 days. I have no idea where that energy came from, but I am grateful that the energy came from me because I accomplished so much. And that feeling in my accomplishment was absolutely incredible because for the past week, I've been sick and I've been feeling like I've been dragging my butt. And we're in that momentum, that new beginning stage. And I'm ready to go, but I'm not ready to go, right? And it's not like I'm in with intent procrastinating, but I'm sure to some extent I am, right? Because there's always a way. There's always a pickup, a lesson, right? Your furniture cannot be delivered. They said they'd have it delivered today, and it can't be delivered. You could sit there and just be right, and just sit on the floor. But what if you use that time to actually sand the floor down and give it a polish, or go to the store and find some nice carpets, or maybe you can find some end tables or something to match that piece of furniture that you're waiting. But no, we get so wrapped up in the feeling of that disappointment that we go, forget that. I don't even want to exist today, right? This day's not getting anything out of me. But the only one who truly suffers, because the world is still moving along without you, it's just moving differently, and maybe not as well as it could be with your contribution, right? But maybe if that's your contribution, that's my contribution, right? Maybe it's best that I don't, right, contribute. Just at that moment, right? Just at that moment until you get the lesson. Okay, you guys, here's my lesson. So I was going through my walk-in closet, going through my camping gear, starting to get my Rubbermaid containers ready for packing into my Jeep for my trip. But I had so much old camping gear, stuff that I didn't need, right? I even had an extra tent. And so I decided to sell it, and I was going to split it up into two parcels, right? And because there was enough of good equipment that I could easily, right, ask for $50 and $50, and that'd be quick. But then I thought, what would even be quicker is if I sold it all together. So I laid my bedspread out, and I laid it out, and I took the pictures, and I listed my camp gear, tent, and camping chairs, and camping dishware, and coolers, and I can't even remember, right? A backpack with that hydration system with the tube that comes out. You can pack stuff in it and have lots of water and stuff I wasn't going to use, right? And so I put it up, and I put it at a nice cheap price so it would go. And I put it up, and I forgot. Oh my goodness. It's the long weekend this weekend, and my phone just blew up. Oh, by the time I woke up in the morning, I must have had 100 phone calls, right? And I'm not, right? These are strangers. These are people I don't know, and they have the silliest questions as far as I'm concerned, right? I listed it. I put good pictures up, right? Why would I open up the boxes and open up the packaging and make measurements and stuff? Right? And every question, every inquiry had a question like that. And I went, oh my goodness, I just want this cat gear gone, right? I was asking $75, really good price. Part of the reason why my phone blew up, right? And this one lady, she messaged me, and it was like, sometimes that last nerve. And I says, oh my dear, my phone is blowing up right now. I really like to dig into that bag, but it's already packed and ready to go. The sooner I can get this out of my house, the better. She says, I'll come and get it. I went, oh, okay. Well, I says, if you can come and get it, you can have it for 60, right? You can have it for 60. Right. And I have to go to work and stuff, and it's getting late, and I have a live show to do. But she did come, right? And she was a lovely lady. She was a lovely lady. Her and her dad were going camping together for the very first time, and she liked the tent that was in my package, and everything else was just kind of like a little bonus for her, right? And so I was happy. I got my $60. I can write sold on the ad and delete the video, delete the ad, right? Do my live show, go off to work. I'm good to go. Extra $60 off for the vacation fund, right? And on my way to work, she messaged me. She says, oh dear, she says, the tent's not in the bag. And I went, what? What? The tent's not in the bag? What do you mean, right? And I'm thinking, oh, this $60 that I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll get some groceries tonight, or maybe this can go that fun, or if my sister pops by, I'll add it towards what I owe her, right? Because she's renting the truck for me, and I'm paying for it, right? So I still owe her another $150, which was supposed to come out this week. That's another story in gratefulness, but it was the whole day was the lesson in gratefulness, and that was the thing, right? So I'm in a bit of a panic mode. I'm going to work. There's nothing I can do. I can't get home, and I'm pretty certain I don't have that tent, because I've just gone through my walk-in closet, and I've gone through everything, and I know that tent's not in there. And I'm dreading making the call. And at the same time, I work in a little thrift store that puts the roof over my head in the moment that I was hoping that there would be a tent there so I could just replace the tent for her. There wasn't. And I searched everywhere and I made myself miserable, the feeling, right? I made myself miserable over that. And at the same time, I felt so bad for her because she lived on the edge of town and she made a special trip to get there before I had to head off to work because I put timelines and I put incentives, right? I put the price down and plus my phone was blowing up. So she knew she probably wouldn't get it otherwise, right? But on my way home, I text her. I said, "I'm really, really sorry, dear." I says, I'll return your money." And I said, because I just made myself miserable at work, and I was telling everybody this story. Oh, if a tent comes in, I need it, and right, and it just made for a kind of a heavy evening, right? And then I text her and I was messaging her because I was walking home and I was messaging her as I was walking and told her that I'm really, really sorry, dear, but I don't want your holiday. Like it's Mother Nature. It's a trip her and her father are doing right for the first time together. They've never been camping before. Oh my goodness, I can't put a damper on that. I don't even want to. Right? So I told her, I says, I'm sorry. I don't have the tent for you, dear. I'm gonna refund your money and I want you to keep everything else. Like, I really want you to have a good time and I feel so bad. I should have checked in that bag. And I thought of it a couple of times, right? But that's in our choices when these thoughts and these serendipities and that actual thought came into my mind a couple of times before I handed off that bag to her. More than a couple of times because I noticed that it wasn't all puffy and tight, right? So I knew I could hear all the rods and everything in there, but I just thought, oh, maybe for the first time I got a tent that actually fit back in the bag when she had it out, right? I didn't even look. My fault. That's on me. And I'm not ruining her holiday, right? She goes, "Oh, dear, just give me $30 back. I love the other stuff too. Just still have a cold. Just give me the $30 back." And so I emailed her money back. It was I gave it all back to her, and she messaged me back. She says, "Oh my goodness." She says, "I'm looking at tents right now." And she says, "I thought you were just going to give me the $30 back and you gave me the whole 60. Why did you do that? And do you want any of your stuff back? What can I do for you?" And like it was so amazing. Like it was so amazing, that feeling of gratefulness that was returned to me, right? And I stressed myself out. I made myself miserable, kind of grumbled a little bit about, right, having to return the money. And you're right, I could have used that money for my vacation and stuff, but I did the right thing, right? This person's going to have an amazing weekend. And she's going to have a little story about the lovely little old lady who let her have all the camping gear. And if somebody compliments the great tent, and I hope she's absolutely just floored with the tent that she does find. I might even message her and say, "Hey, did you find a tent?" Because it is the long weekend. If you didn't find a tent, you can borrow my pop up, right? You can't have it. That's right. That pop up tent is that's a beauty. I have it up at 80 years old. I'll be able to walk around the tent with my cup of coffee and pop it up, right, in 3 minutes. And that's why I bought it, because I was forward thinking, not wanting to make that investment again, right? Because it was a very expensive, well, in my view, it was like $350 tent, right? So maybe 400 with the taxes. That's a big investment for somebody, right, who is low income in this moment, right? Right? So, in that gratefulness, I was just floored and I concentrated on the feeling that I was receiving from this. We were just texting. Like, right? I only met her when she picked up. She told me about the camping trip with her dad and stuff. Was happy for her. Thank you very much. Got the money from her. But in that texting, in the walk and walk home, and it was the tone, and it was that feeling of, that I was truly sorry, right, for putting a damper on her trip, and in the end, it didn't. And also at the end, to have that gratefulness of having that stress, right? That stress and that negative feeling that was on me all day, worrying about the tent, to have that dissipated, and not only dissipated, but to have that woman return that gratefulness to me and actually say, "Oh, I wish I could give you the biggest hug," right? Because we were in messages. I wish I, because she probably had found the tent that she wanted, and it was a little bit more than what she was going to be getting back, right? So I am happy for her, and I will most likely check on her. I'll have to do that tomorrow afternoon by the latest, because she'll be off and running, and I'm sure she'll find a tent, even if she has to buy, even if she buy a new one, $60, right? Into summer, she'll be able to find something, even if it is the long weekend, right? But that other story in gratefulness, well, Les Brown, right? Les Brown had that, in all things give thanks, like in all things, right? Because it's the feeling, it's the receiving, it's somebody thought of you, it's acknowledging that person who thought of you. And not everybody searches out for a thank you, right? We know that, right? We are empaths and highly sensitive, and we stumble over ourselves to please people, to work hard, right? To be at the top of the pack, to compete where we shouldn't be competing, but because we are capable, right, of competing, we do that. And because we love, right? We love it. So yeah, in all things give thanks, in all things, because even in that miserable situation that I was in, that I was dealing with, that feeling of gratefulness would have not been received by myself, right? If I hadn't moved into that interaction, into that experience, right? Into that frustrated moment that I, in the moment, really did not want to deal with. I just wanted to fix it and have it right. I just wanted to fix it. And in the end, what got fixed? Me and my understanding on the week, right? On the week that we are on the topic of gratefulness, right? And I was intent to do a little bit of Les Brown, and the other one, the attitude of gratitude. Wow, we know what Cindy's attitude is going to be today. It's going to be an attitude of gratitude, right? Last night I went to bed. I parted with some money. I'm already like divvying out in my budget and stuff, right? Like, it's going to be painful. It's by the skin of the teeth, but it's the lesson for me, right? And when I am ready to receive, right? I'm going to be grateful to receive it, right? And if it's going to be a little bit of struggle and I have to push against that, if I haven't gotten the lesson yet, I'm just going to keep moving forward. I'm going to just keep being aware. I'm going to be observant, right? Be the spectator, not always the teacher, right? And it's easy for us, for people who are trying to control and have a say in our own beings, in our own life creation, right? And that creation beyond, right? There's influence all around us. And I am grateful that, I was my little bit of my own influence yesterday. And we're going to send some good cheer. It's a false alarm. They're going to get there. They're going to be standing up. No, I don't know what that is, but I'm good now. And they'll be off and running. Okay, you guys, that's got to be it for today. I am running off to work. We're still on the topic tomorrow, right? Grateful. Maybe it'll be a little bit more Les Brown than I did today. But I felt compelled because it is a lot of being grateful is the feeling that it gives for us. And not only in being grateful, it makes you clear minded to think of doing the right thing, because you anticipate the feeling that gratefulness is going to give to you. And then the bonus, right? The sprinkles, the gravy, right? Is that receivership in reciprocation, right? Somebody else, right? Receiving it and returning it back to you in some kindness, right? And in some gratefulness. And I am grateful for how the lessons get to me. They do come to me very curiously, and I'm grateful for being able to see the detailing, because sometimes it is in the detailing, right? I wish it could be another way, because I would have been here 30 years ago otherwise. Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer, and we'll see each other tomorrow.